Hello everyone, welcome to Lighthouse Stamping with Lorraine. I'm an independent Stampin' Up! Demonstrator from Vancouver, Washington. Thank you for joining me today. Before I get started, the housekeeping notes, all the product I'm using, all the dimensions are listed below. There's a link to my online store if you wish to purchase any of these products. There's a link to our Facebook group. We love to have you join that. There's also my email. And if you have any questions, please send me an email. And please like, share, and subscribe on YouTube and help me grow in YouTube world. Sorry, my voice is still a little crackly. If you missed me last week, I had no voice. So I'm set that there out of my way, but I'm going to show you what we're making. We're making a gift today. First is our gift bag. You know, if you're giving a Christmas gift, you have to have a nice bag. And we'll be making that later. But this is the gift. This is out of Pretty Peacock, and it's out of Country Rose paper. It is a demonstrator paper only that we earned back in April. And so it's got cute bunnies on it. And this box is 6 by 2.5 by 4.5. So you could use it for lots of things. But I designed this to be a box to give cards to a loved one or a friend. And I'm sure you all have somebody that would love to get a whole bunch of cards from you that they could send out through the year. I think I've got about 12 or 14 in here. There is some fun folds in here. I'm not going to pull them all out. These are just cards I've made over the last few months. And I just shoved them in there to show you that. And there's envelopes in there for every card as well. So this is what we're going to make. I'm going to set this back out of the way. And we need 2 pieces of paper. We need 1 piece. You're going to need a 12 by 12, and you're going to need 8.5 by 11. Okay, the 8.5 by 11, you're going to cut that one down to 6 by 9.25, and you're going to score that at 2 and 4.5 on the 9.25 side. That's that one. On the 12 by 12, grab my other sheet. You're going to cut that down to 12 by 10.25. I guess I could move this down a little bit so you can see better. 10.25. So it's 12 this way, 10.25. So first on the 12-inch side, I've already scored this. You're going to score at 1/2 inch, 3 inches, 9 inches, and 11.5. Then you're going to rotate it and score at 1/2 inch, 3 inches, and then it's 7 3/4. And I haven't done this one. You have there's 2 lines here. You're going to score down to the first line. You're not going to go through the center here, just the 2 first panels. Flip it over, and again it's 7 3/4 over to the second line, just like that. So we have those pieces, okay? We are done with the scoreboard. Now I'm going to grab my trimmer. Now, if you're brave, you could probably do this by hand. I'm not brave. I'm going to turn this around. So this is that full 1/2 inch piece, and this is the piece where we did the partial score lines. And I'm going to put that in my trimmer. And those score lines, I'm going to put right into the track of my scoring. And we scored at 3 and we scored at 9. So we know what our measurements are going to be. And so I'm going to put this right at 3. And I'm going to cut over to the 9. And you can see the score line, but you also can see the 9 on my cutter. I don't know if you can see the 9. I can see the 9. So I scored between that 3 and 9 right there. And you could cut the rest of this on the trimmer. I just wanted this one to be really smooth because you're going to see this. Okay, let's get that out of the way. So next we do some burnishing and some folding and some cutting. So we're going to burnish all these lines except that little those short ones. And then up here and here. Just do those like that. Okay, now I'm going to start here at the bottom, and I'm leaving this attached, so we are going to be cutting this panel out. But I found leaving it attached give the cardstock a little more stability when you're cutting down below, because it wasn't as wobbly. I know, wobbly is such a technical term. So what we're going to be doing is we're going to be cutting up here and here, and I'm going to the right to the outside of that score line, or right on it. We're going to come over here to this one here. I'm going to make a little miter cut right here. I'm going to cut this off here. That wasn't very neat. And then I'm going to take just a tiny wedge, basically just almost removing that score line to make sure there's no score line in there. And I'm going to just take a very tiny wedge off this. You can see it's just a sliver. Just a sliver. And I could get a bigger pair of scissors, I think. Then we're going to come over here and do the same thing up this side, up this side. I'm going to take a little minor cut here, cut this off, and take a small wedge there. Small wedge there, little miter cut there, and a little miter cut here. So I'll stop this and show you where we're at right now. That's the bottom of the box. Okay, take the opportunity to get rid of all this paper real quick. Ooh, almost threw it in my toolbox. Okay, so now we're going to work on the top piece. Hang on, I'm thinking here. Okay. I'm going to go over here, and I'm going to do the two sides first. I'm going to take this one here and miter this slightly. And I'm going to come over and do this one. You can see how you're having the stability of that still attached. It doesn't make the paper quite as wobbly, because it is a large piece of paper you're working with. So I mitered that there. Now we're going to go ahead and cut these. And I'm cutting to this side of the score line. So I don't want that score line in there. I don't want to have to miter this either. So I just went to that side of it. And this one, I'm going to go to this side. So we don't have that score line. And that is what that piece should look like. That's the 12 by 10 1/4. Okay? The next piece we cut was this one. There's no cutting on this particular piece. There's just some burnishing. A little crease there and a little crease there. Now, the one thing I am doing to this particular piece is I am going to quarter around these two corners, because this is the front of the box. This is optional. If you have a corner rounder, you could use yours. I know we don't have one anymore, and so, but corner rounders work. You can find them anywhere. And like I said, I've had this since I started crafting over 40 years ago. Once you get a good punch, they last forever. So this is what we have now. So what I want to do is I want to hook this onto this box. Now I'm going to be using, this is going to get hooked here, and this is going to get hooked here. So I'm going to flip this over. I'm going to do this side first. This is the top of the box. Look how, this is the bottom with the bigger piece. Top is this one. The top, this is the flap. Make sure you get them going the right direction, because if you don't, your box will have to go in the trash because you did it wrong. And I'm going to attach that right like that. Now I'm going to use liquid glue on part of this, because liquid glue, I know tear and tape works. Tear and tape works, but tear and tape does, after a year or two, starts breaking down. I don't know why. But I find when I can use glue on something like this, it will hold up a little better and it's a little stronger. So I'm putting it just on that tab right there. Not too much, but enough that it gets a good cover. I'm going to take this fold and line up with those two fold marks on this one and right at, and you can see just like that. Get the good rub. I'm going to flip this over. I'm going to flip this in like this, but I'm going to do one special thing because I'm going to be putting glue on that. I am going to throw in my silicone mat, which fits because you got a lot of room right this panel here. I'm going to put glue here. This is just in case I get it on. I don't want it on the inside of the box. I'm not using a ton of glue, but enough to give it a good coverage. And then flip this over and it should line up perfectly. Give that a good rub. Now this is the point I want to decorate this box. So I like to decorate it when most of it is still flat. I find it easier. So we're going to stop and we're going to cut the DSP now. Here we go. So you're going to need a sheet of DSP. Now, if you are using a sheet of DSP, that is directional. Oh. Hang on for just a second. I just dropped the bag and the cards on the floor. And I don't want the cats to get into it. Sorry about that. Back to what I was saying. If you have paper like mine that is directional, you need to be very careful when you cut it so everything's going the right way. So I'm going to show you how to cut this directional, and it should go for almost any directional paper. If you don't have a direction, it doesn't really matter, but this was the best use of one sheet of paper that I could come up with. So I'm going to turn it on this side, and we are going to cut this. We're going to need 2 of these at 4.5. We need 4.5 this way. And then we need it at 5 3/4. There's 1. And line that up, 5 3/4. So that is our front and back panels. And then we're going to cut this again at 4. Still going the same way. So the bunnies are still up and down. We need 2 pieces. That's 4.5. And we need 2 1/4. There's 1 side panel. Oop. 2 side panels. Next we need the top, and it needs to be, I'm going to cut this down to 5 1/4, or 5 3/4. And then I'm going to bring this back, and I'm going to look where my bunnies are. I have whole bunnies here. They're sort of there, but I like this up here. I'm going to flip this around. If you have directional paper and you're going to make a cut, look and see what your pattern looks like, because this is going to go right on the top of the box. And we are going to be cutting this at 2 1/4. And if I'm not mistaken, that is 2 1/4. Now, I could choose which one I want on top, but these are more complete bunnies, so I'll probably put this on the top, and this one will go on the inside. There's 2 of those. We need 2 more pieces. So we need a piece of paper that is 5 3/4. And we are going to be cutting this at, now this is going to be the front of my box. I don't think I can get both of these out of this one. No, I can't. This piece is, you wouldn't have, if you're not that directional, I want the bunnies to be showing. So I'm going to be doing this, because this is the very front of the box on mine. So I'm cutting mine this way, but you need a piece that is 1 3/4. But I wanted my piece to show the bunnies very clearly on the front. But we also need 1 more. We need another piece that is 5 3/4. Oh, I'm going to cut bunnies know where I go on this one. By 1 3/4. This will go on the inside with cut off bunny heads. So you have a few scraps left. But to do this box takes almost a full sheet of paper. So if it's directional, you do need to cut like I did. If it's not directional, you don't have to, but this is the best use of your paper. Okay. So this is the front of the box. This is the lip that's going to come over. So I'm going to start with the back of the box first and the sides. So what I am going to do first, though, is I have two pieces here, and they're almost identical, so it doesn't matter which one goes on the front. So I'm going to put the back piece on too first. The only one that doesn't have a panel on it is the very bottom. And of course, most of the inside, except the part you're going to see. I am just dragging some glue out to the corners. I find if you get that out on those corners, especially on a box, they hold it. And make sure your pattern's going the right direction. There's that one. And then I need a side panel. So you can see it is much easier to put this on before you put the box together. I'm just moving a little bit of glue right over to the corners. Like I said, you could use seal, you could use whatever you wanted on this. I just prefer to use glue. Now I'm just going to flip this way and do this piece. Still making sure my bunnies are going the right way. Okay, I'm going to leave the front panel alone for a minute. Now we're going to take and look at the flipping it over. So this is our lid. And so the part we rounded this long piece is out this way. Because what you need to visualize is what you're going to be seeing. So here's my two pieces I cut for the tippy top. And I like this one because the ear's not cut off. This one's cut off. So we'll save that one there. So this is going to go right here. And the bunnies, you want these bunnies are facing away from you. This dimension is going towards me. So that way when you look at it, it's the right direction. That's what you need to do when you have patterned or directional paper. So there's that piece. I'm going to flip this over now. And I'm going to put the inside piece in here. You're wondering, why am I purposely skipping the front and the lid? I'm going to show you why in just a moment. Excuse me. I needed to get a drink. So this is the piece that's going to go right here, just like on the outside. And you don't have to do the inside of this one, but I thought it looked very pretty. And since it is a gift, I thought it should look pretty. And once again, I'm looking at those like I'm looking in the box and I see those bunnies looking at me. Okay. Okay. I had to make sure I was looking at things correctly. We are going to go ahead and put this front panel on now. And I wanted this one here. Now I had rounded corners, so I need to round these two bottom corners on this. We're going to glue that down. And the reason we didn't put the other pieces on yet is because we need to install our magnets first. Now, I'm using magnets on this, and I like magnets for this because I think aesthetically it's very pretty. If you are giving this to a person who has a pacemaker, heart monitor on all the time, do not use magnets. Please use Velcro dots. Or if for some reason you're giving this to somebody that's going to give it to a small child, use Velcro dots. So we're back at the front of the box now. And I'm going to look at this. This piece here, I need to trim the top on this one. I do that right now, and then I'm going to get out so that's going to go like that. All right. Where, oh where? Oh, there. These are little teeny magnets. You can buy, I got mine from Amazon. You can buy them from lots of places. The first ones I got actually were out of the UK, but they are nickel cadmium batteries, or batteries, nickel something. I don't know. They're magnets. And they're very, if you can see, they all stick together, and I keep them wrapped up in this little box. I can't remember what kind of magnets they are, but you can buy them all over. These are 8 millimeters by 1 milliliter. They are so tiny. I'm gonna hold one here for you. Oop, it's gonna fall right through my fingers. It's so tiny. There. And they're really flat. So I'm gonna put them over here. I've got 4 of them. And I'm just pushing them apart because they just, like I said, they're very strong magnets. Do not let them touch anything that's metal, and keep them spaced out because they will come apart. So we're going to work on this piece first. So what I want to do is put my magnets in, and I'm going to use some glue dots. And you can use your pick tool. I'm using my other old one. I'm going to pick up one of the magnets, and I'm spacing it out, I don't know, about an inch from the top and about an inch or so from the side. Just sort of evenly space them on the sides here. Push it down. Pick up the second one. And that looks pretty good. Now I'm going to take glue, and I'm just going to put a little bit of glue, a little circle right around that. You're going to go, why are you doing that? It's to help make sure I have this secured down inside the paper and it doesn't move on me. I want to make sure there's a dam around it. So if you don't, if it does, the magnet does come loose, it could fall out the top. So I just want to make sure it's not going to. And ask how I know this. So I actually had it happen. So let's stick that there, and then I'm going to take it and rub it all around here. We're going to give a little more attention to this gluing than we do normally. Normally just press it down and leave it. I'm actually going right around those magnets to make sure that they're sailed in under that paper there. And I'm going to come over here and make sure that I have no gap on the top here, and I don't. When you feel this, you'll know what I'm talking about. You can feel where the magnet is. So, magnets are in there, and you can't see them. Okay, now it's for the next piece. The next piece, we're going to do a little building of a thing. I'm going to flip it around upside down for me. And I grabbed some blocks. These are D blocks. I got 2 D blocks I'm setting inside. I know you can't see that. I'm just setting them right inside the front here, like that. And then I've got 2 E blocks I'm setting in here. You're saying, why is she doing this? I'm just sort of centering them in the center. The reason I'm doing this is when we go to push those batteries down on this piece, there's nothing to hold it. So you need to put something in there so you have a little pressure. It doesn't have to come right up to it, but just enough you don't have to push it all the way to the ground. So I'm going to grab another glue dot. Oh, not yet. Don't grab the glue dot. Sorry. Grab one of your magnets and just drop it. It will find its spot where it's supposed to go, and then put a glue dot on each of those. Just like this. Now, what you're going to do is you're going to fold this in like this. Try to keep everybody as square as possible. You're going to fold this up so it's nice and firm. Make sure that your lip, you can see where everybody's supposed to go, and then push this in to those glue dots. And if we're lucky, they both came up. Then push them down. Then you get rid of these blocks. It's just a little helper tool. Stamping blocks are good for lots of things. Okay, so now we need to do this last piece, and we're going to glue that on, and I'm going to do the exact same thing. I'm going to put a little, if the glue comes out, little dam of glue right around that, so I make sure that I have it covered. I'll put glue on here. And once again, we're going to give a little more care. There is a little lump in there, but it's not bad. And aesthetically, I think the magnets really do look much nicer than Velcro, but like I said, you don't want to give this to somebody with magnets if they have a pacemaker or something like that. So that's the box. Now you could stop this and just build your boxes like this. If you're going to use these for other things, or, you know, for a gift box, you could stop right there, store it. Now I'm going to seal the bottom of this box. You don't have to. You can just leave it open and tuck it in. So it tucks in like this. Like that. And you could leave it open. I'm actually going to seal mine. So there's some options with this. But I want to seal mine because I don't want the glue or the cards falling out. And I'm also going to be doing some gluing on the bottom of these flaps in a minute to help secure this together. So we're going to put this in, and now I'm going to take, and yes, you have to do this carefully because it is sticky. I tried to do it with glue. It doesn't work. Well, it does work, but it's messy. Tape worked better for this part. Make sure that everybody's there. Now stick your hand in, or your phone folder. Now I am going to come in here to help sturdy that bottom base up a little bit. These two flaps. If you don't, let me see if I can show you this. If you don't secure this, it's really flimsy right here. But if you glue these panels down, it sturdies up this bottom, and you don't have a hole to catch onto anything. I wanted to make this so it laughed. Now, I did make another Christmas box about 2 years ago, and I know you can't see me putting glue down here, but I am. And I'm going to show you one in just a minute. So as I get done manhandling this one and we get it finished, and show you what was reasoning behind this box. Sorry, can't show you inside. I just put glue on those two flaps. And now you can't stick your finger through them. And it also helps sturdy up the base of the box. Then these go in like this, and it flips over. And there is your beautiful box. Not quite done yet, though. I think we need a bow. Now this is the white and silver ribbon. And it's appropriate I'm doing bunny ears since it is a bunny box. Now I'm going to tell you the story behind this box in just a moment. That's about right. And we need a glue dot. And I'm going to put that about center on my box here. Needs a little decoration. One's a little long. There we go. So that's the box. Okay, what prompted this box is my sister came to me. I gave her one of the boxes I made back in December of 2022. And she brought it to me. I'm going to show you the box. She says, "Can you fix this for me?" And I said, "Why don't I just build you a new one?" She says, "Well, if you're building me a newer one, can you build me one that's bigger?" I said, "I think so." So this is the used and loved box that I made in 22, December 22. She's used this. And if you go to video 160, you can see me making that and the box, or the bag that it went with this box, because this box does not fit in the bag that went with this one, because they're different sizes. But this one it only held about 10 cards. So it's about an inch. Hang on, let me tell you. It is, that is 1, I'm measuring them both at the same time here. Yeah, it's about 3/4, not quite, almost a full inch higher. So, I mean, it's a bigger box, much different. Let me show you this way. You can see the difference. This one's a little shorter than this one, which is fine. This had a little extra room lengthwise, but you didn't need it. And I needed to shorten that just enough so I didn't have to use 2 pieces of 12 by 12 paper. This was made all with 8.5 by 11. So if you don't have 12 by 12 and you want to make a box, go back to video 160 for this one. Put your magnets in like I did in this video, not in that one. I messed up, and so I ended up having to put them on the outside, and inside it does work better. But she asked me to fix this, and I said no. So this is the paper. She picked out the color and stuff of what we were making. So there's the box. So let's make the bag. Grab my other set of instructions. Okay, the bag for this, you are going to need 2 sheets of DSP that are 12 by 12. I am using the Traditions of St. Nick. I picked out this paper about 2 weeks ago. I just checked this morning. Unfortunately, it's gone. But I'm not going to change the paper because you could do this with any paper. Look in your stash. If you're like me, you have lots and lots of paper. Matter of fact, some people say I probably have too much. But, so use whatever you have. I'm using this side here. So you're going to need 2 pieces. Don't use your take your pick tool as your stylist. It doesn't work. So you need 2 pieces. And we're going to score them exactly the same. We are going to score this at... I want to make sure I've got my measurements right. Uh-oh, hang on. I got a kitty in the bag. Hang on. They're playing. Okay, sorry about that. We are going to be scoring at 3.5. And if your paper is directional, you want to make sure that your pattern is going this way, so you're looking straight on your pattern. Like this one was directional, so I started looking at the paper with the stockings going the right way. And then we are going to score at 11.5. So it's 3.5 and 11.5. You're going to rotate it. So you got that little score line here, the little piece. Move this, you can see it. This is where that last score line is. You want that closest to you. And then you're going to score at 3.5 and 10.5. So we're going to do that one more time. 3.5, 11.5. Rotate it so the small score space is at you. 3.5 and 10.5. It's pretty simple. Let me get my board out of the way here. So we're going to go ahead and, I don't know which side we're at here. Okay. Sorry about the banging you hear outside. You hear that? It's recycling a garbage day. So I'm burnishing this. This bag is a little different than I usually do, and I'm going to explain why. When I've made Christmas bags in the past, I've always flipped this smaller piece over this direction. But I decided to go inside because I didn't want the extra pattern. I wasn't overly... I thought they clashed. They're both pretty, but they clashed. So I didn't want that. So we're going to do that, and we're going to do this one. burnish. This one. And one at the bottom. Okay. So, we'll do some cutting here. This is the top with the smaller piece that's going to fold that direction. And this is the bottom here and here. So, this small piece here, I'm going straight up the score line. And just a tiny little miter right there. And this one, I'm going straight up the score line. And make a little wedge in here. And a little wedge on this side. Okay, and now the top of this. We're not going to be removing much, but when you fold this over, and I'm going to fold this again, I'm going to reinforce this here one more time. This is the one corner, and this is this small flap. You see how if you don't take this piece out here in the bottom, this one right here, you don't take the whole piece out, you just take a little wedge. Like that. So when this is folded over in this way, you don't see that coming through. Let's see, I did that one. Okay, let's do the other one real quick. So again, like I said, I'm going to fold this. I like to, especially the top, I like to go back and I'll burnish it again in a few minutes. And then this, like I said, you can see just a little bit coming through. So I just like to take a little wedge off of it. And like that. Like this. Right up the score line. Small miter. And just another small miter on this side. Sorry, I'm out of the camera. Just like that. Okay, so we're going to work on the top of these first. First, we're going to go ahead and put some tear and tape on these. One close to the score line and one closer to the top. And then I'm going to do the same thing on this one here. Okay. I'm going to pull tear and tape off and make sure that's down. And this one. Now once again, I'm going to bring this over since I've added the tape in there a little bit. I'm going to do that and make sure that that's there. So I'm going to put tape on this tab here. And the same on this piece. I'm just going to make sure I've got those good and burnished because it does help hold the shape of your bag. Okay, so how this is going to go together is you've got two identical pieces. This is going to hook on here. I'm going to move just a moment here. I have to get my my pieces out of the way here so I have some room here. I start off with a big open desk, you know, the whole thing's open as everything gets closer and closer to me. So I'm going to line this up and pull this towards me for now. I'm going to line this right at the tippy top of my bag. Line up the score lines. Not pushing down hard yet. Now I am. Give that a good burnish. And then we're going to flip this over, push this down. Oop. Not there. Make sure that you're even. There. Okay, so that is the bit. Now we gotta do the bottom of the box. So I'm gonna put the two sides in like this. And this is where I'm gonna be using glue. I'm gonna grab a newer bottle. That one, the other one's getting a little loose on glue here. And I'm gonna bend these out just a little bit here. So you can see what I'm doing. So I'm gonna do this very quickly because I need to put glue on here. Glue on here, flip it over, put glue on this side, flip this over, and then square up my bag. And with the glue, you have lots of time to do that. Make sure it's nice and square. Flip it over, bag's big enough, put your hand in, and push it down tight and make sure the bottom's all sealed. So you have actually 3 layers of paper in there. So it makes, and the glue, when the glue dries, it makes it quite sturdy. I'm gonna pull this one, that's not dry yet. But you can hear how hard that is with that 3 layers in there. That is enough to support that particular gift without putting extra cardstock in. Okay, now I'm just gonna grab this and push in at the top, just slightly, make a little, just right where that extra layer is. Just gives a little shape. And then I'm gonna grab a hole punch, just a regular old hole punch. Excuse me, I need to get a sip of something though. And what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna hold one side. I'm gonna take my hole punch. If you have a deeper thread one, you won't go down, probably, you know, about 3/4 of an inch. I'm lining it up right where that paper is folded. You can see it right there. I'm punching. Punching. That means my holes are almost perfectly lined up without doing a lot of measuring and fancy stuff. Just like that. Got nice holes. Then you're going to need 2 pieces of ribbon. And we are going to use the Cherry Cobbler Gold ribbon. It's in the mini catalog. And you need, I'm using 2 pieces that have approximately 22 to 23 inches of ribbon on them. I've not used this ribbon with this, so we'll have to determine how many knots we need to make in our bag here. So just put the ribbon through. And pull it up. And then you're just gonna make a whole, at the end, you're just gonna make a whole bunch of knots. 1, 2, I'm thinking 3 or 4. It depends on the thickness of your ribbon. I'm gonna go 4. So you need to look at the thickness of your ribbon. When you get started, you'll know, because once you get to go, take your ribbon. Oh, 4 is almost not quite enough. We need 5. This ribbon's quite thin. I did not realize how thin this ribbon was. There we go. And then this one will come through this side. I will try to tie these as quick as I can. Whoa. yeah, this is thickness wise. I didn't realize, this is the first time I've opened it. Texture wise reminds me of the white seam binding ribbon we had for a few years. There we go. I only did 4. It does need 5 with this ribbon, but other ribbon it will need more or less depending on the thickness of the ribbon. Now, the one I used before was some old real red ribbon we had in the last couple years, and was the package had the red and the green, and that one only needed 3 because it was a much thicker ribbon. Or if you use a smaller hole punch, which maybe I should have done with this one, you wouldn't have to make as many knots. But what's a few knots? Make a bunch of these bags and sit in front of the TV and tie knots. I do like this though, it doesn't fray bad. There we go. And the last one. Well, I'm sorry this video is a little longer. What I'd planned on doing was to do the box last week and the bag this week. But when I became ill and lost my voice, I decided just to do it all at the same time. So there is our bag. I said you could do this out of any DSP paper you have. It doesn't have to be for Christmas. It could be a birthday. And here is the box we just made to go inside. I'm not going to take all the cards out and put it in there because my sister is going to have this and she's not taking the bag. I'm going to use the bag for something else. But this is hers. And there's the one I made before and the other bag. So make a Christmas present for somebody. Make somebody very happy. And have a wonderful day. And I will see you next week. Goodbye.